It was a quiet Tuesday evening when I arrived home from work. My house looked perfectly normal until I noticed several neighbors gathered across the street, staring toward my electric meter with worried expressions. As I walked closer, I saw the HOA president standing beside my electrical panel, an electrician she had hired. She insisted my home's power would be disconnected because of an alleged HOA violation, even though she couldn't produce any official utility paperwork. I politely asked to see the written order authorizing the disconnection. Susan avoided the question and claimed the HOA had full authority over neighborhood utilities, but none of the neighbors had ever heard of such a rule. The electrician quietly admitted he had only been hired by the HOA and had not received authorization from the electric utility company. He hesitated, realizing something about the situation didn't seem right. Instead of arguing, I calmly called the electric utilities customer service line. Within minutes, they confirmed no service disconnection had been scheduled for my address and promised to send a supervisor immediately. While we waited, more neighbors stepped outside after hearing the commotion. Several began recording the interaction from a respectful distance, curious to see how the situation would unfold. About 20 minutes later, 2 official utility company trucks pulled into the neighborhood. The utility supervisor introduced himself, reviewed the address, and immediately asked who had requested the unauthorized work. The supervisor carefully examined the electric meter and service equipment before turning to Susan. He explained that only the electric utility, not the HOA, could authorize a residential power disconnection, and only after following strict legal procedures. Susan insisted the HOA rules gave her the authority to protect neighborhood standards. The supervisor politely asked her to produce the written agreement with the utility company. She searched through her papers but couldn't find anything that supported her claim. After reviewing the records on his tablet, the utility supervisor confirmed my account was in perfect standing. There were no unpaid bills, no safety issues, and absolutely no work order authorizing any interruption of service. Several neighbors quietly nodded as the facts became clear. The utility supervisor informed everyone that attempting to disconnect electrical service without authorization could create serious safety risks. He instructed his crew to document the entire scene before anyone touched the equipment. One neighbor quietly stepped forward and explained that she had seen the HOA arranging the electrician earlier that afternoon. The supervisor thanked her for the information and added her statement to the official report. Just a few minutes later, a county building inspector arrived after being notified by the utility company. He carefully examined the electrical installation and confirmed that the home's equipment met all applicable safety requirements. After completing the inspection, the county official confirmed there were no code violations on my property. The report matched the utility company's findings exactly, leaving no support for the HOA's accusations. As the officials finished their reports, several HOA board members quietly arrived after hearing about the situation. After reviewing the findings, they appeared surprised and concerned by what had taken place. One of the HOA board members asked Susan if she had received legal approval before trying to arrange the power disconnection. She quietly admitted that she had acted on her own interpretation of the HOA rules without consulting the board or the utility company. The utility supervisor reminded everyone that only trained utility employees were permitted to operate residential service equipment. He emphasized that safety regulations existed to protect homeowners, workers, and the entire neighborhood. By now, nearly the entire street had gathered outside. Instead of arguing, everyone quietly watched as the officials completed their reports and explained the proper procedures for handling future concerns. Before leaving, the county inspector handed me copies of the completed inspection report confirming that my property fully complied with local building and electrical codes. The documentation cleared up every question raised that evening. As the last utility truck pulled away, the neighborhood returned to its usual quiet. Looking at my brightly lit home, I realized the evening had become a reminder that facts, patience, and following the proper process will always be stronger than assumptions. The following week, the electric utility mailed me a formal letter confirming that no violation had ever existed at my address. They also stated that my electrical service record remained in excellent standing and thanked me for reporting the unauthorized request. A few days later, the HOA board scheduled a public meeting to discuss what had happened. Residents filled the clubhouse, hoping to hear how the misunderstanding would be addressed and how similar situations could be prevented. The utility supervisor attended the meeting as a guest speaker. He explained the proper legal process for electrical service requests and reminded everyone that public utilities operate independently from HOA regulations. After presentation, several neighbors thanked me for remaining calm throughout the entire situation. Many admitted they had learned more about property rights and utility procedures than they ever expected. That evening, I relaxed on my front porch watching the neighborhood settle into its usual routine. Looking at my brightly lit home, I realized that patience, accurate information, and respectful communication had resolved the conflict far better than anger ever could. A month later, the utility company invited local homeowners to attend a free electrical safety workshop at the community center. I volunteered to help organize the event, hoping everyone could benefit from reliable information instead of neighborhood rumors. Following the workshop, several neighbors asked if they could tour my standby generator installation. A licensed electrical contractor explained how the system worked and emphasized that all equipment had been professionally installed and inspected. Later that season, the HOA board adopted a new policy requiring all future compliance concerns to be reviewed with the appropriate authorities before any action was taken. The updated process helped improve communication throughout the neighborhood.